Hey everyone, and welcome to another Two Tamers Talk. We got a special one. Justin is in the house. How's it going?
It's going good. I got my first deck profile first time, and then we did the interview, and now I'm on a full-on podcast. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh yeah. This has been a long time coming. You came in for that interview and it was awesome. The most ever viewed Two Tamers Talk. Thank you so much to the fans. And now you're here for the full thing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I'm excited. I get to do it with you, which makes me pretty happy.
Nice. Well, this is a rare recording of the podcast because you're listening to this right now, Friday at 8 a.m. Thank you so much. But today it's actually Thursday, which means our locals have happened.
Yeah, so you don't have to talk about it in
retrospect
normally, anymore.
A little behind the scenes magic. Normally this is like either Wednesday before the locals or like a Tuesday or something. But how'd the locals go, Justin?
I played that Ukamon Rookie Rush deck. I made a small adjustment. I cut the Mega Death for another Death X because it's a good card in our locals, so I just play it. I went 2-2 facing... shoutouts to Jeff, by the way. He was playing Leopardmon.
Deck profile coming soon.
Imperial or I guess Pale Dramon. Somebody was like, he keeps saying Imperial Dramon when it's clearly not Imperial Dramon.
There's not an Imperial Dramon to be found.
But yeah, that deck has a bit of a hard time dealing with big blockers, and Leopardmon and Machine Dramon were both my losses. So, go figure. What about you? How'd you do?
I ended up winning the locals. I played D Brigade. Another deck profile coming soon. D Brigade is really cool. I think a lot of people build it in a different way with the level 6 lineup and level 5s. I just play as many Commandramons as possible and just dogged them down.
You know how I know we're friends? We just ignore the top end in every single deck.
Yeah,
and just turn cards to the right.
My deck has level 6s in it, Justin. Spoiler alert. Yeah, locals was fun. But that's not the only tournament that happened recently. There was actually an Ultimate Cup last weekend that we both played in. Mm-hmm. I'll do my recap because it's very short. I dropped at 1 and 2. We were both playing the same deck. We were playing a blue kind of Rookie Rush board control deck.
It's fitting the theme of what we've been playing, right?
We were our original instinct was to play sort of a kind of like the deck you were talking about where you did a video deck profile for, was a Pale Dramon kind of rush. But then we realized how strong Zudomon Ace was.
Yeah.
And we basically built a deck around that. So I ended up going 2-1 or 1 and 2 and dropping. But how did you do, Justin?
I went 4-1, getting 10th. Okay, it sounds more impressive than it is. There's a very funny story about it. Where it's the 5th round. There's 7 undefeateds still, and theoretically, there should be like 2 more rounds.
It was a small tournament. There was only 160 entrants or something like that.
Yeah. But we went 5 rounds because on the 5th round, 3 people tied.
There were 3 draws, and then the pair down lost, and they're like, "That's it. The tournament is over. Someone is 5-0." There was, I think, 9 people 4-0-1 or something like that, and so there was supposed to be it should have been at least 7 rounds. But then two people or three rounds tied in round 5, and they're just like, tournament's over.
And I'll give you one guess on what those decks were.
Yeah, lots of yellow vaccine, but
good deck.
Top 10. Congratulations, another amazing performance, Justin. What's next?
Well, next weekend, we have 2. I have 2 Ultimate Cups I'm playing in. Basil is only playing in 1. Oop. And I think we're going to not play the same decks.
Our paths diverge, Justin. Yeah. Because you're going to stick with the blue deck, the Zudomon Rush Abomination. I'm probably going to play Dire Bitmon.
Yeah, green comfortability.
I like green decks a lot. The thing about it is this format is pretty interesting because in terms of removal, you have Zudomon Ace and Kakaitis Breath, which are bounce cards, and
the aliens.
The blue cards.
Right.
You have the Aliens deck, the black deck, or D Brigade, which deletes Digimon by play cost. Mm-hmm. You have yellow, which has some DP minus, but it's missing a lot of it that it has in the open format.
Right.
And
And
then you,
Magna Ace, right?
yeah, and then you have Wargrey, which swings over things. And I think, in my mind, I can wait for all those things to go into the battle area and then Dire Bitmon over them. I think that's going to be something that I try out. I was also talking with Jordan. Shoutouts to Jordan. About playing aliens, because he's been playing it a lot of locals. It has a really good top end because it has Omni Zwart and Zwart Defeat.
I mean, if we look at the other Ultimate Cups in other regions, I think
Latin America, aliens was crushing.
Yeah, I think 3 out of top 4 were all aliens, and they splashed it in with the Commandramon engine.
Mm-hmm.
So they not only had actually strong spot removal that was relevant, they had a win condition. If you get into BrigadeGamon, it's really hard.
There's not a lot of outs to it in the format.
Yeah, you can't really clear wide boards. You guys kind of mentioned it on one of the podcasts, but the pool is so limiting that you have to be really creative on how you deal with boards, especially in that format. And the moment you kind of lose it, that's the format. And it's really interesting because I started in BT8, end of BT8, and there wasn't a format like that where you really, really try to fight for the board and like try to stick onto the board. And now there's a lot of wide board removal, Crimson Blaze, Death X. But this is a format that I wouldn't say like the fundamentals of Digimon, but you see it a lot more in like pre-release events where the power level is so much lower.
Yeah.
And Dire Ribbitmon, I don't know if you've ever played against it. And this is kind of one of the enticing things about playing a rogue deck in this format is I don't think people know
there was
how to
not
play against
there was
it.
not a top in the top 16. There was not a single Dire Bitmon. Mm-hmm. Not only was there not a single Dire Bitmon, there wasn't a single green deck in the top.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about green, you're right, it's a very slow format. But 2 cards were reprinted in RB1. Blossomon and Hidden Potential discovered.
Yeah, play the banned cards when you can play them.
That's
right?
really good. You have 2 aces, which not a lot of colors can say, because you have the Rust Tyrannomon ace as well as the Lily ace. You have 2 Rulies for Dire Bitmon. You have the promo and the RB1.
Yeah, most of the decks only have 1 Tamer to their name, right?
You have Mimi, which is really strong. You have Terriermon Memory Floodgate, which is good. You have SR Palmon, which is kind of goes in every deck. There's a lot of good cards, so I'm gonna tinker around with it, and that's probably what I'm gonna bring this weekend.
Yeah, and this is kind of on the argument of comfortability versus like meta picks, because I think we both agree that this deck was among the top contenders of the strongest decks. I think the one that won the
fish.
Yeah, the fish played a really similar deck, not as aggressive, but more source control.
Yeah, they skipped out on the Louis Ukomon and moved more towards Joe with Marching of the Fishes and then Plesiomon top end.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is we were talking, if you watch the Hexablaumon deck profile, we were talking about how the bottom end of the deck is really, really strong.
Right.
With the Ikakumon, we think the Squid is very good. Gesomon. Gomamon's obviously very strong. The Egg is very strong. But then they give us this level 6 that kind of sucks, and it's Plesiomon. But in a format that is extremely slow, Plesiomon puts in some decent work.
I mean, I'm not like the biggest fan of hard playing a Tamer for 4, but in this format, it's very relevant.
It's not even bad.
It's not even bad. They're playing
TK.
Blue
TK.
BT8. It got reprinted in the Tamer Party Pack 1 or whatever, the one that isn't the movie promos. And it's not even a bad card.
Yeah.
It's a format where you can get really greedy with your Tamer lineups. You can actually have time to play Tamers without cheating them out, which is really interesting. And it won 5-0.
Yep. So. There was, you didn't play in any Ultimate Cup. You played in 1 Ultimate Cup before this. And I was talking about the interesting thing between the 2 Ultimate Cup formats. The first one being the monocolor one. There were a lot of decks that were just at full power in the monocolor format. And so that was MirageGaogamon, most notably. In the first set of Ultimate Cups, Machinedramon, which dominated the first set of Ultimate Cups.
There's Bloom.
And then Bloomlord. The only restriction they had at first was Hydramon to 1, which most Bloomlord lists at this point were playing 3 at most. Most were playing 2.
Red hybrids as well.
Red hybrids. Well, it didn't have Blitz Omni and Bokomon, but still very, very strong. To where it's sort of like, it's not that it felt like, it didn't feel like a really restricted format.
It was a different format, but not
a
really.
restricted one.
Right.
This Ultimate Cup feels a very restricted format.
It kind of sucks because
ahead.
it wouldn't be as restrictive if we had EX5, because Japan is playing the Ultimate Cup rule set with EX5, and I think the deck building gets a lot more interesting there. It has a draw engine. The purple line actually exists. You can actually play the cards, and Lugermon is unplayable. It's funny because a lot of the decks that were good in the last Ultimate Cup were just like the set that they're from with their cards. And then Lugermon just like, I need a lot more cards.
I have no Mist Boost. I have no Analog Boy. I have no Brush Gato.
No Gato, no Chimera.
No Chimera, no nothing.
So it just takes like a lot longer.
Well, and that was people's first intuition was Greymon. Just play Wargrey, because you get BT12 Wargrey from the regionals participation pack. Mm-hmm. You get EX1 Greymon from the double pack. You get Greymon X from pre-release winners pack. Yeah. You get the BT12 Agu and Greymon from the tournament pack 11. Yeah. You
also get the raid top end from the regional participation.
Yeah, that's the BT12 Wargrey.
Right. They got a lot of cards.
You have the secret rare Wargrey. You have the entire starter deck. You have BT1 tie. You have starter deck tie.
And we really are living in the Greymon trading card game.
And in the top 16 of the Ultimate Cup that you got 10th in, there was one Wargrey. Yeah. Because it's just not that good.
Yeah.
Without like blocker tie, without metal X's, without sort of black Wargrey and that sort of side of things. Yeah, Metal X.
It's strange because you just said everything, and then it also has two of the best consistency cards for the deck. It's Red Boost and Red
Training. Yeah.
And the deck still doesn't perform, which makes you wonder. It's like the Greymon thing is only good because it has access to so many toolbox things, and then you cut it in half because they still got a lot. But the deck is, I wouldn't say clunky, but like we were saying earlier,
instead of doing everything, it does one thing.
Yeah. And it doesn't even do it that well because it can't handle aggression. It can't put up blockers fast.
Yeah. There's no blockers in the entire deck now besides Metal Greymon Ace or Wargrey Ace and Metal Greymon.
The starter deck, right. So that's the format we're playing in, where the Greymon that still has all the support,
has a lot of pieces,
is kind of slow, clunky.
Kind of slow, yeah.
It's really, really interesting. I'm glad they made this format, by the way, because I think this is the most deck building I've ever done in terms of a set. Because usually we have a format that is very reminiscent of the Japanese format. We can kind of look their way, get a really good idea.
Okay, obviously, Shine was good there. It'll probably be good here.
Oh, Mirage is good there with training cards. It'll probably be good here. Yeah. But we have like small differences, like the Machao got banned. So we're at one Machao, the level 5 that bounces a 4 and then unsuspends if you have 8 more in hand, right? And the deck is still good.
We'll get to that in a second. But the only other thing I have to say about Ultimate Cup is you people, you all complained and moaned and you whined and you whinged, and Bandai has heard you. And the Ultimate Cup after February is open format.
Yeah, just another regional.
It's just another regional, but instead of getting regional participation and event packs, you get Agunimon and Takuya and Emperor Greymon and Blitz Omni as a top champion card.
That might be the most expensive Ultimate Cup card, I think. If
Blitz Omni as champion card, really good.
Oh, they've already done it. So
they've already done it.
It was for Nats last year.
Thank you, Jesse, for ruining my hopes and dreams. Anyway, back to our stacked agenda. Justin, speaking of nationals, Europe had its national tournament already.
Yeah.
Insane. Because we were like thinking like, oh yeah, Nats in end of January, and Europe just had it this past weekend.
That just internalized for me now that you've said it. I'm like, oh, they've already had it.
They had their national tournament.
And ours is in 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, 1.5, but you get the point.
A completely different format as well than us.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's kind of a little bit rough because our format, I think this is the most powerful EX set they've ever released.
Yeah,
I think every EX set
sure.
had a small impact on the meta. Like some not meta relevant decks, but more like meta relevant support
pieces.
Yeah, pieces. And EX5, it's not only meta relevant decks, it's very meta relevant pieces, and that's going to be our format. So it's interesting. We get to see the BT14 format like isolated before all the sport comes out, because we don't even have a tournament that will play by these rules. There's not another regional till next year.
No, there is one regional in BT14.
Oh, right. It's in
Pasadena. Shout outs to Core TCG.
Can't go to that one.
Can't go to that one. We'll see at Nats though. So we'll jump right in. First things first, to the archetype breakdown. No surprises here. Lots of Lugarmon, lots of Wargrey. Shine. People are realizing that the Geo Grey nerf was a hit, but more of a slap on the wrist than anything else. D-Brigade, Blue, Mirage, these sort of top lists. I think we all expected stuff like this to be highly represented.
Yeah, nothing really surprises me here. And the interesting thing about like Shine, Bloomlord, Mirage is those decks have always been good and always have been like heavy hitters in the last format. And then when you give them a boost card that doesn't bottom deck their Tamers, it's no surprise that they're still good.
Sure.
I'm not really like, oh wow, I can't believe people are still playing Shine. The deck is still really good. It's still really fast, right?
But there is one thing when looking at this archetype breakdown that only becomes apparent when you look at the top 16. And you would expect with 61 Lugarmon players that there would be maybe some more Lugarmon players in top 16. And yet there is just the one out of 61 players.
This dog is not very good.
Listen, all of you, the good folks listening at home, Lugarmon is not as good as they said it was. Everyone was super worried about this deck. Tier 0, we got to ban the egg before they even have it, stuff like that. This deck is so contingent on so many things. It needs more setup than the previous top purple decks have ever needed.
Yeah.
It needs to have its Tamer. It needs to have Analog Youth. It needs to miss boost. You need to miss boost the Black Gatos into the trash. You need to find your rookie that mind links for free. There's a lot of things that need to go right for this deck to succeed.
Yeah, I'll just quick breakdown. You need AG in turn 1 on your opening hand. You need the Lugarmon that cheats out the AG from trash or whatever. You need to miss boost the subsequent turn, mill Gatomon, specifically Gatomon, because you need
and
the
then
damage
draw Chimeramon.
And then draw the Chimeramon, and there's nothing that searches the deck. You have no cards that draw you a lot of cards. Like a lot of purple decks in the past had a purple engine that drew them a ton of cards, trashed a ton of cards. Lugarmon only trashes a lot of cards.
One at a time.
One at a time with Analog Man or when attacking.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to get the right things in the trash, you have to swing with your level 3, level 4, level 5 a lot of the time to get things into the trash, which is
very suspect.
And that kind of already dictates your turn clock. A lot of decks, most decks will get around 2 raising phases if we're talking about very competitive, like really, really good decks in the meta. Like Shine Grey, the moment they raise their first stack, they're killing you or they're controlling the board for the entire game. And that's the game, right? They get through 2 eggs. Yeah. If you have to wait 4 total turns to get your Fenrir Lugamon out, you're already a turn too slow out of Mirage and Shine.
Yeah.
Which doesn't hold super well, you know?
So
not a surprise there.
And the other thing that I think a lot of people are starting to realize is that the combo OTK is contingent on deleting something to unsuspend.
Yes.
So it sort of has BT10 blue flare syndrome in my mind. That's kind of how I think of it. Whereas on the term where they're threatening Fenrir Lugamon, if you have no Digimon on the board,
they can't kill you.
They can't kill you. And then you can respond to them, and then they're doomed from there.
Yeah. And I mean, the only other way they kill you is if they have exactly 2 Black Automons and they have to live so that
you alliance them and then Chimeramon.
Yeah.
But the point is, this deck, this is another. I said this on almost every podcast I'm on. This is all to the doomsayers of you that are watching. These sort of the the people who catastrophize about formats before they're even here, just wait until we have it.
Yeah.
Just wait until we have it.
I was pleasantly surprised with the BT13 format. It wasn't that bad. Obviously, Shine was really good, but there was actually a lot of deck diversity. And that's not even a joke. A lot of the top 16 breakdowns for those regionals had like multiple decks that did different things and played the game in different ways, and it wasn't like a tier 0 format.
The last regional of the BT13 format, the most represented deck at the regional was MirageGaogamon.
Mm-hmm.
That is a cool format.
Yeah, and it got to finals.
It won.
Yeah. So
super cool.
Just wait.
Just wait. It's not as bad as you think it is. So let's go into the decks sort of proper. The first one we're going to start with is MirageGaogamon.
Has some of my favorite cards in it.
Yeah, we were... my MirageGaogamon list is a lot different than this because I went basically full tribal and then really weighed in things like Hammer Spark and things like that. This deck moving in a different direction, moving more towards the sort of source strip engine from the new set.
Mm-hmm. You know what was interesting when I first looked at this list is that usually you really want a turn where you have your rookie on the board and then you evolve into the level 4 to spit out a Tamers for free. Mm-hmm. Never really want to be playing it for the full cost, like I said earlier.
At least the first one.
Playing Tamers for their full cost doesn't feel great. But the problem with that is the moment you do that, most decks have a way to deal with the level 4. Mm-hmm. So then it dies. But the interesting with Gomamon is opponent's turn on deletion, spit it out.
That's true as well.
So now you not only have a level 3, you have a memory setter, you can go up the entire line and immediately retaliate. And it makes Mirage, or at least this form of Mirage, a lot more sticky. And that was kind of my first reaction.
Yeah, the Gomamon is cool in this list.
And it plays Zudomon Ace.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking of. So one of the best turn ones in Mirage is EX4 Gaomon in the back, Searcher Gaomon on play. And then you search and maybe you get a Mirage and a Thomas, perfect. And then next turn you have Gaogamon, play out Memory Setter Thomas, and then maybe Evo EX4 Gaogamon in the back.
Right.
And then you're threatening, with you have 3 memory to go up into your level 5, still your turn, go up into the 6, and do things from there. But it is even stronger with the Zudomon Ace because after you play your Thomas for free, if they try and raid over it with Metal Gray, if they try and do a big turn with Bloom Lord, whatever the case may be, you plop a Zudomon Ace down and stop their combo mid-turn. Yeah. So it's even more disruptive. The downside to the Zudomon Ace, of course, is 1, not searchable by the Gaomon, which does hurt. And then 2, you're going to miss a damage from your inheritable.
Right.
Because you won't have an unsuspend condition. Other than that, it's an amazing list. 4 training, 3 boost.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Well, the last thing I'll point out is he plays the jamming eggs. So that means you'd no longer have to run the... what's his...
Oh, Nikolai.
Nikolai, yeah, for jamming. Yeah. Because swinging 12k into some decks, really, really sketchy.
Yeah, so. You do gain DP from the MirageGaogamon, but only on the turn that you Evo, as well as the Gaogamon that plays a Tamer for free has a 1k DP buff. They have moved away from the BT13 Gaomon, which has a 1k DP buff inheritable. For the obvious reason that now they're swinging with jamming.
Yeah, and they'll always have it. Their board is gone. It's getting bounced.
And
so.
the last thing to say about this list, there are a lot of Mirage lists, and we'll talk about them a lot less than this one, probably, is that the ratios are worth noting. 10 rookies, 9 champs, 6 plus 1 is 7 ultis, 5 megas, and then 3 burst mode. You can get away with that when you have 4 training, 3 boost.
4 training, 3 boost. The last thing I'll say about deck building, I don't know who I heard this from, but a very good player says if you ever want to put cards in your deck and you can't find room, the first thing you remove is rookies. And while I'm a little hesitant on that because I really like rookies, you can see it in this list, 10 rookies.
Rookies don't win you games, folks.
That's true.
Second place, I don't even know if I can really call this yellow hybrids. But I don't know what else I would call it. This is a crazy, crazy list.
Where do you want to start? You want to start on the double-colored eggs, where you can flip a red egg and
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So we're playing 5 Coromons, which is nice because 8 of our rookies can go on top of them for 0. And then we have the lone Harrismon, where if your opening hand is Harrismon and flip red Coromon, -1, I think, which is pretty funny. They are playing only 5 of the level 4 hybrids, and then 1 of the Jet Sylphie, of course.
Gotta play it.
Yep. A full playset of the Magna Ace is very cool. Obviously, we both love Ukomon. We've been a very big proponent of this card.
It's just a good card.
But other than that, double Gallantmon is very cool.
They said a Venusmons.
Yeah, Venusmon is a very, very strong card this format. All of the top decks have amazing when digivolving skills, especially Mirage. I think Venusmon is a very, very strong card in Mirage.
Triple Crimson Blaze.
Triple Crimson Blaze, very good this format. Sunrise Buster, amazing. Trident Gaia. I don't even know if you know what that card does, Justin.
I couldn't tell you off the top of
Trident
my
Gaia
head.
is Gaia Force, but if you delete a 13k, trashes security. And the reason that it's slightly worse than Gaia Force is, unlike Gaia Force, you cannot target specific Digimon out of security. So you do have to have. There are ways to play around it, different than the Gaia Force. But a red. Let's see. What would we call this? A yellow hybrid red
Rush,
security
control
disaster. I don't know. This is a very cool list.
Not even a disaster though.
No,
because
there's
second place.
Yeah,
is
second
very
place with
difficult.
this is a very strong meta call, I would say. This is an anti-meta yellow hybrid deck.
Yeah, it's interesting. The last thing I'll say about it is the Ukomon gives it a little bit more reach. I think yellow hybrid as a deck has always been contingent on your opponent misplaying, because a lot of people don't really know how to play against control decks in general. A lot of times it's really uncomfortable to like raise your stack or swing. You just want to go really wide and be really careful when you hit their security, because you can see in this deck, it plays 12 Tamers. It plays a billion options. You're going to die to something.
Yeah, so or set them up for next turn.
Right. And because of that, if you were a good player that knew how to tempo yourself and put yourself in positions to actually beat the security out of yellow hybrids without it being a detriment to you, yellow hybrid players were often off by 1 damage. And Ukomon is
that 1 damage.
Is that 1 damage. You put it in raising and you'll get another raising phase, which is another point of potential damage. And last thing is it sets you up and gives you another memory. So if you have a Tamer that doesn't give you a memory, they set you to 1, you raise an Ukomon, it will put you to the 2 for your hybrid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a really interesting list.
Really cool. Yeah, I was toying with the Magna Anja Ace as a yellow hybrids engine, but I don't know why I didn't think to put Ukomon in. Yeah. Like, duh.
Hard. I mean, no Japanese meta to net deck off of, right? We just got it. So.
Third place was Mirage again. Very quickly, is this card for card the same list?
No, they play
one extra Gomamon. They play Lana instead of Kumamon.
Kumamon, yeah.
Other than that, one less full moon meteor impact. That's where they found the room for the extra rookie. Other than that, pretty much same exact list. Very nice.
I see this, and I'm pretty sure they tested each other against each other.
Yeah, these are homies.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the deck is too similar to not.
Yeah. Fourth place, some slight divergences. The first is that we have no Searcher Gaomon in the list. We have replaced it with Madoki Betamon, which I think is a good. I'm a floodgate guy. What can I say? Love to see that little fiche.
10 rookies again.
10 rookies again.
More blue boosts.
They went for a full playset of both boost and training. Found the extra room in the Thomas, which I like.
And 3 to Ace again makes me wonder if they're friends.
Yeah, they are playing 8 on the ultimate level. So, and then skipped the 5th Mirage. So they're bouncing no Tamers. They're just bouncing security and Digimon.
I mean, being honest, I really like that MirageGaogamon. It's the one that you
have.
That's
one of the best cards.
It's one of the best cards they've ever printed. So,
5th place, MirageGaogamon, very similar to the last one. The only change is they aren't playing Ice Wall.
And they are running 3 full moon meteor impacts.
Yeah.
Really wants to win the mirror in security or something.
Moving
like
on. Hunters. Hunters, I've said this on previous podcasts, and I'll say it again. Any deck that was good in BT13 is good in this format.
And Hunters saw a lot of tops.
Hunters was very good in the last format. Worth noting that they did play the 1-2 Armon. You don't see that in every list. The 1D Digivolve, I think, is pretty cool.
They run 5 eggs.
They run, the Kozenmon, the coin. Shoutouts to the coin. That's only if you play another Digimon with save or something like that.
Don't
draw
quote
one.
us. I don't remember it off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
this is a deck that wants to raise every turn, pretty much. So 5 eggs is perfectly reasonable. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty much the same. This is a full BT12 list. So not a single card added from a different set.
Yeah.
Very good. It's cool to see that decks like that can still succeed.
Yeah, because I remember a big complaint about Digimon is when a new set drops, your old decks suck. And I think that was true. And I didn't play in the BT 1 to BT 6, 7 era. But a lot of the old decks still can stand the test of time.
I think you could bring Crossheart and win.
I think so too.
That's what I think. That's my hot take.
Oh, that's we got to talk about it later.
7th place, MirageGaogamon. What do you see instantly,
Monkey.
Justin? Monkey?
Gorillamon.
I see dog. Look at their rookie. They're playing Labramon. If you have jamming gain of memory.
Okay, to be honest, we were talking about it earlier. I don't know if anyone ever has played Hearthstone in classic days, but Vanilla's being good is awesome.
That's the sign of a good format.
That is the sign.
3 numbers in a dream.
And it's almost a Yeti.
It's almost a Yeti. Shout outs to Chillwind Yeti for those Hearthstone fans watching. But other than that, a full set of boost and training. 3 and 3 on the Thomas, the Zuda Ace we've seen before, and then the Turbo level 4. Yeah. I like that a lot. I'm a huge fan of vanilla level 4s.
Yeah, whenever they're good, they feel. But pour one out too.
Red Veggie.
For Red Veggie.
R.I.P. 8th place Mirage again. They opted for the Syakumon and the Midoki Beta. I think that's good. A lot of trainings, obviously, in every deck. So that's a good meta call. Sticking with that Labramon I like. They also went for the Aero Vidramon, which is security attack +1. So it can sort of, in a world where you can't unsuspend 5 times in a turn, the Aero V makes it a little bit easier. But other than that, it's another Mirage list.
What can we say? Outside of, I think the consensus is that Zudo Ace is an amazing card, and they're running 3 of it in every single list we've seen so far. So.
I'll have to try it. I thought about it and then opted for just Mock Galgamons, but I'll have to give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
In the 9th place, we have Security Control. Security Control, which I think is very, very good this format.
Yeah.
I think that Security Control is amazing in formats where combo decks are swinging without protection. So War Greymon maybe a little bit less prevalent than Mirage and Lugarmon. The Mirage is obviously swinging a bunch of times with jamming, but no immunity to Wyvern's Breath, Chaos Dag, Lonkia Staccato, things like that.
Interesting thing is that this Security Control deck has
X
program also only 4 rookies, and they're not Salamon.
They opted for the Harrismon with the Tactical Retreat.
Yeah, so this deck is basically Security Control, and it's maxing out its defense. It's saying, I don't even care about recovering from the rookie. I want a security effect. I want every single option card that's good in my security.
Yep.
And they're just going super turbo on just raw defense. It's pretty interesting because, like you said earlier, X program is being run, Shadow Seraphi, Double Death X. They're playing Digimon Emperor, so they're taxing you.
Yeah, Digimon Emperor, very good this format, specifically in the Lugarmon.
No Mimis, which is interesting. Old BT3 Mimi Tachikawa.
Oh, wow, yeah. Just opting for the Kari, and then the one Mire. Yeah, sometimes you need to emergency get that yellow source. And purple source.
Right.
I like Schwartz Lursats a lot this format. Lots of wide boards.
Interesting no Pelamon. I thought a lot more people would be playing at.
Yeah, I've talked a lot about Pillowmon specifically as a floodgate recently because I was trying it in. I've been working. If you listen to anything, I've talked about Mastemon a lot. It's one of the projects I've been working on. It's been very difficult to build.
A lot of good cards.
And one of the reasons is Yellow has the two most relevant floodgates in the format right now, which is Cutemon, which is Digivolve cost, and Pillowmon, which is effect playing. The problem with the Pillowmon is you can't Hell Scythe. It's the same thing if you've seen Jesse's Lord Knight list. You want to play Pillowmon because it's really good, but you're playing Digimon by effects on your opponent's turn, and Pillowmon says both players. It's the same thing in Mastemon. You really you hit that Hell Scythe, and they're like, no. And so it does shut off them, but it also shuts you off. The Harrismon as a replacement for the Salamon is really cool because you can set it out there and then draw off of your Tokomon egg. They moved away from the Vixie and the Upa. And then eventually, when you predict that they're about to have a combo turn, you drop a tactical retreat and you put it in there. And then their combo turn is now cut in half or stopped completely.
Yeah, turned off completely. And you need everything that you can on combo turns against control decks, right? Like, if you're getting security -1, your game is over. If you get Hell Scythe, your game is over, right? So
if you can't out Shadow Seraphi, your turn is over.
Right.
Things like that. So a lot to like about this list. A very unique list as well. Move on to 10th place. Security Control again. This one, I think, a lot more standard.
Yeah, way more traditional.
The Upas and the Salas. Magna Angemon. The Venusmon makes a return. Up on 3 Death X. That Mimi you were talking about comes back.
Holy Flame.
Holy Flame, another way to shut off your opponent's...
It's basically Harrismon on steroids, right?
Harrismon, but can't be tactical retreated. But other than that, a very solid list. Oh, as well as sticking with the Kari rather than the TK. I think that's perfect.
And it plays more lonks.
Good card.
Good card. But way more standard. This is kind of what I expect out of a Security Control.
Well, is this what you expected in 11th place, Justin? Marcus Damon Hybrid Control, Justin.
I gotta adjust. Okay, hold on. So we have a lot of one-ofs.
Yeah.
And one-ofs are good because your opponent... It's really hard to play around one-ofs. Because you see it one time and you're like, how many do they play?
How many times do I have to be worried about Sakuyamon Maid Mode?
Or Heaven's Judgment.
Yeah,
or,
right.
And it's a really aggressive list. It plays 7 Marcuses and ways to cheat them out. Geograys, it plays 2 Ukumons, which we kind of seeing the first place or the second place and this deck kind of converge maybe a little bit, where we're saying earlier that Yellow Hybrids doesn't always have that last point of damage, but Ukumon is. So they're deciding to play 2. 6 total Agumons, which I think 8 rookies is about right for a Yellow Hybrid deck.
Yeah.
But now, since we're playing the red engine, we can play things like Crimson Blaze. We have Sunrise.
Final Shining Blast. Regular Shining Blast. These both play Marcuses for free and then neg a bunch of DP. Wyvern's Breath. Oh my god, this. And Sakuyamon Maid Mode plays Sunrise Buster, plays a Marcus, wipes their whatever, and then puts Sunrise Buster to the top of your security. Yeah. That is brutal.
And I just realized this now, but because the Koromon says when something comes out of security, it's not when you have to attack, you can just keep the 4 of Agumons out there and have your hybrid swing, draw a card, and then wait for the memory game start of main. It's a really interesting list that seems really flexible. And this game is so old now that we have... Okay, old is not even correct because there's games like Yu-Gi-Oh! That have 20 years worth of cards.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Does have us beat.
However, look at the diversity outside of the Mirage. We can just kind of push the blue cards to the side. But this is a really, really cool list, and I'm glad that these kinds of decks can still coexist.
A deck like this can exist is awesome.
Super sick.
12th place, good old red hybrids.
Always reliable.
Yeah, not a lot to say other than I'm happy to see quadruple Gravity Crush. I think that's correct. I think that card's really good. As well as a single Metal Greymon Ace. widely considered to be the worst ace card, finding a home in red hybrids of all places.
Yeah. The nice thing about the level 5 aces versus the level 6 aces, I think the level 6 aces really needed to agree, like, it had to be really good to play.
You have to, when you level 6 ace, you have to win the game.
Yes. Because if you don't, they're spot removaling it for 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, whatever.
Damn.
But the interesting thing about these level 5 aces, even as a one-of, I was saying earlier that one-ofs are really good because they're really hard to play around.
Mm-hmm.
If you see this in game 1, you have to worry about it in game 2 and potentially game 3. And that's why these ace cards are really good. And people were more worried about like the level 6s being a problem, but no, these level 5 ace cards are amazing.
Well, especially you swing with your Aguni on top of Takuya, right. And for some reason it's 35,000 DP because that's how the deck works. Oh, and it was 3 checks too. Oh, okay. It's only 5k on my turn. Gonna out it. Swing. Counter.
And even if it doesn't blow up the Digimon that's attacking it, it's now an 8k body.
Yeah.
And people don't recognize.
Yeah, they swing. Okay, my 7k level 5 is going to swing over a Goonimon. Not so fast.
Yeah. Even things like even if it's 8k and we both crash, you lose the memory. Losing your stack is a really big deal.
Yeah, you would trade 3 memory for killing their level 5 every time.
But the thing is like, even though you've gone neutral in that exchange and you've gained memory, it's like, yeah, sure, you lost your level 3, 4, and 5, and we're kind of seeing the meta slowly shift into less Digimon total because you can play things like the trainings, you can play more boost, and we were seeing it earlier.
You get choked out of resources.
8, 9, 10 rookies. It's not as much. You might not see it on your second stack in your second hand. So getting those trades is really good. So
yeah, very cool list. Other than that, Atomic Inferno, Crimson Blaze, Blitz Omni. These are normal red hybrid things.
Right, nothing surprising there.
Oh, they are playing the Koromon rather than the Tokomon, which was on deletion if you have a Tamer draw one.
Yeah, this is just strictly better.
Yeah, Koromon. We hit their security. We drew a card. Perfect. 13th place back to security control. The first thing that I noticed about this is we were playing 5 eggs and 3 rookies.
Hold on, I gotta count. What?
Why
have we done that?
Triple Harrismon and quadruple or a full play set of Viximons and the 1 Tokomon.
How do we get a rookie back to hand? Maybe you can enlighten me.
We get it back. My thought was like, oh well, tactical retreat, and then you tactical retreat your Harrismon to security, and then you TK to grab the Harrismon. But that's our 2 of into our 1 of. Which I don't know how relevant that is. So that doesn't make sense to me, but
this was definitely a they got the list wrong in the input. That's my guess.
Oh, this could be a flub on the recorder's part. Yeah. But if it's not, please let us know in the comment the rationale for 3 rookies,
if you got
5
13th
eggs.
place at a European
national tournament.
Let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know. But other than that, a couple of the faces we've come to know and love with the Magna Anja and the Magna Anja Ace.
Or Death
Gallantmon,
Death Rafi. Yeah. Pretty standard. Nothing we haven't really said yet. It's playing all the security control cards that we kind of expect. So
yeah. And they're very good. 14th place, our sole Lugamon contender.
Now, if you've ever looked up this deck, this will be what you saw, probably.
Yep.
You play 4 of the good cards.
This is the only way to play the deck, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because it's a really cool deck conceptually. I think Alliance is one of my favorite mechanics they added, and only 2 decks that exist have it, and that is the EX4 Rabbits Gargomon thing,
Cherubimon,
which is not very good. And then I was like, oh, a Tamer that gives Alliance. That's really cool because I like conceptually me and my friend teaming up to attack. I think is awesome. Is cool. But anyhow, I think the only thing that is somewhat differentiating from lists that I've seen, they are playing the Digimon Survive promo Labramon, which is cool. I don't think a lot of people are opting for the Dracmon, which is flip 3, grab a dark animal and trash 1, and then put the rest of the bottom. but the Labramon, slightly different strategy there. But yeah, it's all of the BT14 cards as 4-ofs with Chimeramon and Blackgatomon,
Dark Animal,
Mist Boost, and Analog Youth.
Yeah.
And that's the deck.
It really sucks because this is, I think, one of my favorite decks that they've ever printed in terms of art. I think the art on these cards are amazing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful deck.
But sucks that it's the most represented, and we only had one top from it. So shout outs to the person.
Shout outs to this person playing 9 rookies. Awesome.
We were saying earlier, less rookies, right?
Rookies don't win you games, folks.
Rookies don't win you games.
15th place, a huge surprise to me, was Dark Knightmon.
Yeah.
The only new card they have, obviously, is the Box Topper promo. But what a promo it is! Security attack +1 if you're a Knightmon, because people were like, we got more Skull Knights from the EX set, the EX4 set.
Mm-hmm.
But you really only wanted to see that BT10 one because that gives you security attack +1. But now you have 2 targets to give you security attack +1.
Yeah, and this is a weird deck too. If you've never played against a Dark Knightmon deck,
It is jarring.
it's awkward too.
Yeah.
Your turns are weird. And beforehand, they'd run out of gas and they kind of lost their pieces. The moment you kind of out at the stack, that spit out 2 bodies and then out at that,
Yep.
their game was pretty much over. But now, the Kiriha and Nene recycling from trash means that if your primary way of bouncing, a primary way of removing is bouncing, they will have the pieces still because they're in trash,
Yep.
or they're underneath Kiriha Nene or whatever.
Yeah.
And
You can either Immortal Ruler to get that Dark Knight back, or you'll just have another one in hand. The other thing that's cool about this is they're playing 8 security rookies. So the 4 Chikurimon, which is D-Digivolve 1, which is obviously incredibly strong, especially in a meta with a lot of OTK style
MirageGaogamon,
decks.
see you later.
Yeah, burst mode later, as well as the Doromon. Look at their level 4 lineup and the play cost. 4, 8, 12, 16 cards, level 4 that are playable off of that security Doromon.
Yeah. It's a really interesting list. I like how they found a way to put Ice Wall in.
Yeah, with the blue black
you
Tamer.
get a blue source there.
Shout outs to Ice Wall, of
That
course.
deck's obvious. But
Death-
other than that, it's a really niche meta call and might be one of the cases where comfortability. I think you should always play meta. Don't put that on
True.
record. However, they recognize their comfort pick maybe, or they just recognize the hole in the meta.
Well,
where
it's an anti-meta strategy because, like you said, or like we said earlier about Lugarmon, part of its combo is deleting a Digimon to unsuspend. You delete Dark Knightmon, it plays out.
D-Digivolve.
On deletion D-Digivolve, play out something, delete one of the dark animals they played for free. It's like, okay, now I don't have enough. And normally they're thinking, oh, if they have 3 memory, it's still my turn. D-Digivolve that Lugarmon and steal the turn back. Nene gains 1, Kiriha Nene gains 1,
Yeah.
and now they're gonna clap back with a Death X, Immortal Ruler, whatever the
Or
case
they'll just
may
kill
be.
you.
Or they'll
you
just
just
kill
left 2
you.
bodies on the board,
Yeah,
and
you could be in bad shape.
You're in bad shape. So
And then the last deck, Yellow Vaccine, sneaking in there into the top 16. Yellow Vaccine is a deck that has a ton of very, very good cards at its disposal.
yeah, if you look back, I think the first time I'm not really a yellow player, but I do go out and read the cards because I play in a mostly competitive environment.
Yeah.
You read the cards, you're like, oh, it has access to that. Oh, it has access to that.
Mhm.
Oh, it has access to that.
Yeah, you keep
and then you just
looking at
keep going, and you're like, wow, there's a lot of really, really good cards that have Vaccine as its trait.
Yes.
It's interesting because the first time I looked at it, I looked at a list from like BT15, Japan's ahead of us, and I noticed some cards. I'm like, oh, do we have this? I'm like, oh, shoot, we do. What does this do? Bulkmon is random, has security +1.
Yeah, it's the first thing we thought of was, okay, Patamon TK, yours at 3. Or yours at 2, basically, because you'll activate the TK effect. Promote the Patamon, Evo into Bulkmon, swing 2 checks, you have jamming because of the Nyaromon.
Yeah.
That, not a lot of decks can match that aggression. Then you go to swing over the Bulkmon, Magna Anja Ace.
Who's on the spot?
Game over. Because now they're going into Venusmon, they're going into Kentorosmon swing, unsuspend swing, put a Ruin mode on top of that. There's there's very little you can do about that.
There's a lot to like, and this is, I think, one of the first yellow decks that is not necessarily gains a ton of memory like Yellow Hybrid or Control, or like removes things for an attempted cheat after setting up. This deck is really memory efficient, like really memory efficient.
Yes.
That turn 1 you were describing with Patamon into Bulkmon, start of your turn, you raise the Patamon, you evolve into Bulkmon, you gain a memory off of the Patamon because something was altered from your security. TK will recover 1, and you can tap him, gain another memory, and that evolution was for
0.
For 0. You're at 3 memory now, theoretically.
At least.
If they put you at 1.
Yeah.
You Messenger of Hope, go into a level 5 from your security for 1. So you're at 2. And then you can end your turn with Seraphimon, Venusmon, etc. And that entire turn, you went from a level 3 to a level 6 for 2 memory.
As well as doing 2 checks jamming.
2 checks jamming. You've now recovered 1. You have 7 security somehow. And your opponent's just staring down your board.
Like, okay.
And the weird thing about this deck, though, is the presence it has in terms of protection isn't in security. You actually don't have any security bombs. Like, most of the time, these decks do not.
Too long is the most you really see, because you have to make room for... You have to play all the TKs. You really want to play physical training. Messenger of Hope you want to play a lot of. A lot of their rookies are really strong.
Right.
It's really hard. Like, it's one of those things where it's like people are going down on rookies on a lot of decks. But some of the decks, their rookies are their best cards.
Yeah.
And you really don't want to cut them out. And I think Yellow is getting to that spot where its rookies are really good.
Yeah, fantastic level 3s. And this deck is interesting because the big weakness, though, is we were saying that theoretical turn. Let's say your turn is Patamon and training instead of TK. So you haven't, loaded your security.
You haven't seen, yeah.
You raise your Patamon, you take a gander, and there's no level 4.
And it's the rest of your Patamons and Kudamons.
And then you realize, I can't win this game because your engine has completely turned off.
Yeah,
and
you have no turns.
And the thing we were saying about memory efficiency
is gone.
Yeah. Now you're evolving for 2 and then 3
and then you pass.
And then you pass.
And
you
then
can't
die.
Messenger of Hope. You don't get any recovery.
Yeah.
And because you missed that turn, they now can start chipping at your security. And even though you load a whatever in your security, they get to it.
Yeah.
They will run into your security and they won't be there anymore. So you can't Messenger of Hope anymore.
This deck does not play from behind at all.
No.
If you fall behind and you have 1 security, all of your effects are going to whiff.
Yeah. Just can't find anything. Take a gander at 1 card. There's nothing there.
Well, that's going to wrap up the top 16 recap for European Nationals. Congratulations to all the players. Obviously, those top 2 are making their way to the World Tournament in Japan.
Yeah. I hope to see you guys
We'll
there.
see you there.
1, 2, maybe.
Yeah. Any big takeaways from any of these lists? Surprises, otherwise thoughts?
I think that people shouldn't sleep on decks that are already good and have been good, even though there are new cards. I think that the consensus that decks kind of fall off, they're not as strong. Bandai's power creeping the game. That's obviously not true. We're seeing, I mean, it is true, but not in the sense that people are like, I can't play this deck.
Stuff is not unplayable.
Stuff is not unplayable. We saw so many yellow hybrid decks, very creative decks that play the new cards and the old cards, strategies that have worked in the past. So be creative, do what you think is good, and really like look into the meta, and then you can find a hole. Be that Dark Knight player. And we'll see you at regionals in January, or not even regionals. It's Nats, right?
We'll see you at Nats in January. Well, Justin, this is your first full 2 Tamers talk. We got to know, what is your card of the week?
I've been playing a lot of Ultimate Cup, and just like these people in the region or the Nats in EU, I really love Gomamon. That card is awesome. Start of main, Striposaurus, can't be blocked, on deletion, spit himself back out as an inherited. So you swing with him as jamming, you can evolve over him to pass the turn. If he dies, who cares? He comes back, and it strips another source. I think that card is awesome, and it's really cool that the old strategy of source stripping from BT5, or is it BT5 with Hexablow and the source stripping things, is relevant again. So, what about you?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Mastemon. And Mastemon is one of those decks where it has a ton of good cards.
Yeah.
So surely it must be good. But one of the cards that did not surprise me because I knew it was good, but continues to be good, is the Structure Deck Black Gato. It's one of the only cards that is a searcher that can warrant a 5 play cost.
Yeah.
It is insane. It's one of the only it shares a special place in the Digimon card game with Blazing Memory Boost.
Yes.
As one of the best.
Right.
As one of the best 5 cost turn ones.
That's a good comparison. Oh
it
my
is
God.
it's like you hard mulligan to give your opponent 5 on turn 1.
Yeah.
And that's unironically your best play.
Yeah.
And so I've been thinking about that card a lot. I've been playing it with the yellow base, Patamon, promote Evo into Black Gatomon, threaten to turn 2 Mastemon in some instances. End of turn DNA, obviously, and then Evo into your fairy for 1.
Yeah.
Or your angel, not fairy, excuse me.
Another thing that's nice about Gatomon is that it's one of those also rare cards that can warrant a evolve for 3 in the back.
Yeah.
Cards like Deltamon back then in the Black or Greymon X Antibody format, people were playing Deltamon until it got power crept by War Greymon X or Greymon X Antibody. But also warrants the 3 cost evolution because it doesn't reduce it not just by 1, it reduces it by 2.
Well, one for each color.
One for each color.
But on the Metal Greymons, it's always 2.
Right.
Well, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. Justin, thank you so much for making it out for this 2 Tamers talk.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I hope to see loving fans at Nats. Yeah. It'll be a real good time. Yeah. So hope to see you there.
You'll probably see Justin before Nationals, but if you don't, if you see us, come say hi. We'll be there end of January. But other than that, go check out the deck profiles. A lot of good ones coming your way. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.